All right, welcome to this week's episode of the Matt Report, brought to you by Cobus Insurance Center. I'm Sean Bennett from the Chronicle Telegram, joined by a guest co-host, Vinny Corelli, Amherst head wrestling coach. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to start with the top three performances of the week. We're going to start, and no surprise, they all come from the Walsh Ironman. It's one of the toughest high school wrestling tournaments in the country, not just the state, in the country. We're going to start with Jake Evans of Elyria. Jake finished as the 182-pound runner-up at the Ironman. Elyria's second finalist ever. Obviously, Kevin Vo won the championship in 2014 in the heavyweight class, but obviously a great performance by Jake Evans. He pinned Canfield's Anthony D'Alessio, who's ranked number 7th in the nation, in the semifinals, then lost a 5-4 decision, one-point decision to Blair Academy's Rylan Rogers in the final, and Rylan Rogers is ranked number 9 in the nation. So a couple of top 10 guys he faced there to finish that event.
Yeah, those close ones are tough to take, but good thing he bounced back from that.
Obviously, Dylan Shaver of Elyria is our next up. He finished third at 126 pounds at the Ironman. Obviously, another great performance. He won 5-3 decision over Mount St. Joseph, a Maryland school. Chris Barnaby, who's ranked number 16 in the nation, in the quarterfinals. Then he lost 7-2 to Notre Dame, Pennsylvania. Ryan Crookham, who's ranked number 3 in the nation, in the semifinals. Bounced back to win 3-1 in sudden victory overtime against Montini Catholic, Illinois. Dylan Ragusin, who's ranked number 6th in the nation in his placement match.
Yeah, Dylan had some close matches there, and a lot of those don't indicate really how close the match is. I mean, some of those could have gone in his favor. Those close ones, maybe a move here or there that decided the match.
Yeah, and he's obviously, he's nationally ranked himself, so he's obviously been used to this competition. But when you beat a kid who's ranked number 6th in the nation, that's got to be a good way to finish the event and kind of move on with a little momentum.
Right.
A lot of confidence.
Good way to continue on with the season.
Right on. Last of our top 3 performances, Jordan Greer of Avon. He became the Eagles' first Ironman placer, finished 7th at 195 pounds. Jordan lost 4-3 in the quarterfinals to Fauquier. It's a Virginia school. Sam Fisher, who's ranked number 11 in the nation. But then he bounced back to beat McDonough School. It's a Maryland school. Jack Wimmer, who's ranked number 17th in the nation, 3-1 in sudden victory overtime in his placement match. So obviously a great showing. Jordan's not nationally ranked, but he went in there just on a great roll from starting last year, and he's having a fantastic high school career.
Yeah, he's kind of the silent assassin there almost. He's going in these big tournaments and he's showing who he is, and he's got a great future ahead of him. And if you've seen this guy wrestle, he's just a beast.
Yeah, I mean, last year at the Brecksville Holiday Tournament, he in his junior season, he beat a couple Detroit kids who were, I believe, Michigan State champions. I was like, that kind of opened my eyes. Now he's beating nationally ranked guys at the Ironman. That's really crazy impressive.
Yeah, he could easily win it this year at 195.
And obviously, those are 3 of the placers at Ironman, but there were 2 others I do want to give a little honorable mention while we're still talking about. Lyria's Enrique Munguia. He beat Parkersburg South, the West Virginia school, Braden Roberts, who was ranked number 6th in the nation, 2-1 in his 152-pound placement match. He finished 5th at 152 pounds. And Illyria's Mick Burnett finished 5th at 138 pounds. He beat nationally ranked Nick Moore of St. Paris Graham in his placement match. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention those guys because 5 Ironman places, the best this county has ever done. It's just a great showing overall for those 2 schools. I believe Peyton Bergdorf was out there, won some matches from Firelands. Just a really good showing from Lorraine County at one of the toughest tournaments.
And that just shows how hard these guys are working and what their coaches are putting them through to get them ready for tournaments like that.
Absolutely. So again, our top 3 performances this week: Jake Evans of Elyria, Dylan Shaver of Elyria, and Jordan Greer of Avon. Well, the next segment up is my favorite move. It's a segment brought to you from Century 21 Deanna Family Realty. It's a great move. I don't know if you've got to participate. We've had an Amherst guy on last year.
Yeah.
We'll have him on again this year. We'll get somebody on it, but just a great segment. It's kind of fun, I think.
Yeah, it's fun. You get to see all these kids' different styles and how they want to use things, and everybody's got a little different way to do something, and you never know. It could what this guy's showing could help somebody else down the road.
Right on. And hopefully maybe some of the younger viewers are learning some things too. We hope there's a lot of young wrestlers kind of watching these and getting some ideas, so that's good. So this week's My Favorite Move is brought to you from Century 21 Deanna Family Realty. We're going to have North Ridgeville's Anthony Naso on. He's a senior out there with the Rangers, and he's going to show you the double leg to the cut the corner move. It's one of his favorites. Coach Melvin out there, first year coach, says he does it really well. So This is North Ridgeville's Anthony Naso with My Favorite Move.
I'm Anthony Naso, and I'm a senior from North Ridgeville, Ohio, and I'm going to show the double to cutting the corner. So in order to do the double, I like to do so they reach their arms out, like to set up, and I post, go to the double, and then you want to cut the corner by switching position. Right over here, and that's how you do the double, cutting the corner. One more time.
So obviously, pretty standard move, double leg. The cut the corner obviously is a twist on the end, but you, as a coaching perspective, how do you think that kind of went?
Yeah, we stress that because a lot of times kids are taking those shots and they're getting stuck underneath guys. You turn that corner. I mean, the guy's almost finishing that move for you because on a single leg and you turn the corner, he's sprawling, and you're already behind him. The double leg, it's a lot easier to finish turning that corner than staying underneath a guy.
Awesome. So there you go. North Ridgeville's Anthony Naso with My Favorite Move this week. Again, brought to you by Century 21 Deanna Family Realty. Okay, we're moving on to this week's champs. This is kind of a segment where we're just going to talk about who won championships this weekend. There were a lot of them from Lorraine County.
Yeah.
And we might as well start off with North Ridgeville. We just talked to Anthony Naso. North Ridgeville had a great week out there at the Dave Oberholzer Invitational at Black River. It used to be known as the JB Firestone. They kind of renamed it this season. And North Ridgeville had 4 champions. Zach Orseno won at 113 pounds. That's his second straight championship. He won the Cobos Classic at Avon Lake last weekend. Jared Counts won the 120-pound championship. Shane Swindig won the 152-pound championship, and Chris Douglas won the 195-pound championship. That allowed the Rangers to walk away with some hardware. They actually won the runner-up trophy out there and brought something home for the trophy case.
Yeah, great start for new coach Joel Melvin. Joel's been around a while, and great start to getting the second place, a team trophy. It's something to build on, and then gets kids excited. Especially with a new coach coming in, you don't know what you're going to get, and
right.
and having pulling something like that, it's a perfect start for them.
Yeah, good confidence booster, good momentum builder there. Next up, we got Clearview's Oscar Rivera. He won the 106-pound title at the Oberholzer. Black River's Hunter Yaples is the host school. Hunter Yaples at 138 pounds, Brandon Rowland at 145 pounds, and Travis Owen, the heavyweight, all won titles. And then Oberlin's Riley Horning won the 220-pound title at the Oberholzer. So we had lots of Lorraine County champions at that event. Moving on, now while Elyria was at the Ironman, some of the Elyria B Red Varsity, B Varsity team was at the Michael Lewis at Buckeye. And Elyria's Alexander Lowry, their heavyweight, 285-pounder, won the championship at the Michael Lewis Invitational at Buckeye. At that same event, Avon Lake's Drew Del Judas won the 126-pound title, which we obviously talked about him in the week 1 show. Came out. He's a senior. He didn't come out to wrestling until this year because he was kind of a soccer specialist. He only did soccer year round. Came back out for wrestling. He's won 2 straight titles to start his varsity career.
Drew was very impressive over there at the Cobos Insurance Classic. We heard he wrestled, but you're missing those years. You're thinking, okay, this kid, it's going to take him a little while, but he was ready to go, and championship MVP over there. I mean, he put his name out there. He's on the map.
As a Southwestern Conference opponent, you're like, where's the mat rust? Come on, give me
Right,
a break.
right.
Give me a break here. This kid's
Exactly.
coming out, all out here. So, moving on to obviously the event that you guys were at last week, the Bob Bailey at Bellevue. Amherst, Lavelle Gibson won the 220-pound championship. I was pretty impressed with him at the Cobos. He's won now back-to-back titles. And you said he missed his entire sophomore year because of football injury. He doesn't seem to also have any kind of mat rust. He's just really starting out strong this junior season.
Right, and we're real happy with what we've gotten out of Lavelle so far. Again, he had an injury, he couldn't miss last year. We were begging him to just come out, we'll pick and choose his battles. Maybe some duels, tournaments, whatever. But he wanted to rehab the injury and take care of that. And obviously, it's paid off pretty well for him. He's a great start. He's at 7-2 right now. 2 tournament championships. Could have easily been the MVP in either one of those tournaments, but there was we ran into a couple other kids who had some better tournaments than Lavelle. But we're happy with the great start he's had.
Well, obviously, joining him on the podiums out there at Bellevue was Wellington's Gabe Gayhart. He won the 195-pound championship. And then wrapping up the champion segment, Vermilion's Chris Bennett won the 195-pound title, and Drake Shaw won the 220-pound title at the Clear Fork Invitational. So lots of champions.
Yeah, and just to add on to that Gabe Gayhart match, he wrestled our guy Clay Carpenter in the finals. Great match. Clay beat him earlier the week before
Yeah.
at Cobos
Well,
2
at
to
Cobos,
nothing or
yeah.
2 to 1. It was a real close match. This one went into overtime. He got a takedown with 3 seconds left in the first overtime first overtime round, and got the takedown to win that tournament. But it was a great match. Both guys wrestled really well, and Gabe just came out on top, unfortunately for us. But congratulations to him.
Setting up a great season rivalry, probably.
Yeah.
You hopefully you get to see each other. I think obviously last year we had Avon's Jack Resch and Midview's Daniel Bucknavich had this like back and forth all season long. It's kind of fun to watch that unfold sometimes, where two guys just go at it all year long.
Yeah, hopefully we can save the rubber match somewhere.
Yeah. All right, so that was the champion segment, and just kind of for the last bit of the video, we just kind of want to talk with you about some things. Obviously, you're in between tournaments. It's I don't know if it makes it more difficult from a coaching perspective when you have to kind of prepare for back-to-back weeks in tournaments. I mean, with the wrestling season, sometimes you have a week off, sometimes you don't. But you guys obviously competed in the Bob Bailey Invitational, took your second straight third place finish in a big field. So that's got to be good that you guys are kind of rolling with 2 top 3 finishes. Going out to Hudson Holiday Invitational next weekend, which I know is a pretty good event. Just your thoughts on where you guys are at this right now and preparing for this next one.
Well, like you said, it's always hard to prepare for the back-to-back tournaments. This first month is probably the hardest set of matches for us. 3 tournaments, big tournaments in a row. We're a little banged up, and you get banged up going to these tournaments in a row like that. We're going to get through this week, hopefully a little more healthy, and take a little break for Christmas, and then come back and get out to Perry for a tournament. But yeah, it is hard. It is hard to prepare because when you get guys banged up a little bit and you're on a 3-day practice week, it's hard to get them ready for the next one. But mentally, I think we're ready. Physically, if we can get there, I think we'll be all right at Hudson as well.
Talk about some of your wrestling history. I know a little bit, but maybe people who are watching aren't. Talk about your start with it wrestling back when you wrestled yourself.
Yeah, well, I got a late start as a wrestler. I started in 8th grade. I had a friend, Danny Rocco, who wrestled his whole life. His dad was on that West High. I think it was the '52 team that had 6 state champions. That record still holds, I believe. Wanted me to wrestle as a 7th grader. I'm like, nah, I'm a basketball player. And 8th grade, he finally got me, and from there it just took off. I ended up wrestling at Lakewood High School, where I graduated from, and I was lucky enough to make the varsity lineup as a freshman. Qualified for the state as a sophomore, junior, and placed second as a senior. Then right after that, went away to school for wrestling. Had a wrestling scholarship, actually with Coach Deanna, and that kind of didn't work out so well for me. I was just, a few things going on in life then, and wasn't ready for all that. Then I came home, and my coach, Ed Haller, put me right to work coaching. So, I've been doing this 31 years. I love it. It's one of the, I look forward to it every year. It's fun. You get to work with these kids, and you get to see the progression of the kid throughout the year, throughout his high school career, and it's nice to see, how a kid matures and grows up in those 4 years, not only in wrestling, but as a man as well.
Well, obviously you've been based west of Cleveland for most of your coaching career, your longest tenure at Lakewood, but you've spent a lot of time in Lorain County. Stops at Avon Lake, Elyria Catholic, now here at Amherst. Just kind of talk about this West Side wrestling, the Lorain County scene. You're obviously well known because of your dealings with the area schools, and it seems to be a great hot spot for high school wrestling.
Yeah, I love it over here. Like you said, I spent 18 years over at Lakewood, 5 as an assistant and 13 as the head coach, and then I've been in Lorain County ever since, and it's just great that we the coverage over here is just unbelievable. We don't have. And not to knock the papers here, they're a little smaller than the Plain Dealer, the big paper, and they don't cover all the high school sports as much as you'd like them to. But over here, I mean, high school sports is covered unbelievably in Lorain County, and it's just awesome. I love to see it. It's great for the kids. It's great for the schools. Great for the programs, wrestling, basketball, whatever it is. You know, the Lorain County newspaper is doing an unbelievable job covering high school sports, and it's a fun place to be to see that.
So obviously, one of the things I've talked about at the preseason coaches show a couple times, that experience with filming Pinned. You know, I was covering wrestling at the time. I remember the cameras all over out at Toledo Wade at the district tournament, and you know, at the state, running around, stuff like that. I don't know, was it intrusive for you guys, kind of dealing with all that?
Well, the guy who was kind of following us around, I wrestled with him in high school, so I knew him pretty well, and you know, he knew me well, and he kind of knew how I was and what I was as a coach and stuff. So it didn't really affect us too much because he was just he kind of stayed in the corner, did his thing. We had a lot of interview stuff after practice, things like that, you know. And it wouldn't always be in the wrestling room. We'd find somewhere else in the school to go and do that stuff. But some days we'd have bad days in the room. You know, I mean, some kids, just our best kid, Matt Curley, who that movie was pretty much about. You know, we're having a bad day with him, and he doesn't want to talk, and we got to, you know, just go through the process and get him where he needs to be, and make sure he's got a little bit of a spirit with him to try and talk and, you know, say the right things and do the right things. And you know, and it was great because he really expressed himself as who he was. You know, he didn't put on any, you know, when he had a bad day and he got interviewed, you could tell he had a bad day, you know, through that interview. He wasn't putting on a different game face or anything. And it was good to see him. It was a great movie, came out well, and they did a great job with it.
Yeah, I bought the movie. I've seen it several times. Your thoughts on the first time you watched it after, because you obviously knew it was coming out. You'd been part in it and got to see the finished product. I thought it was pretty impressive. You seem to sound the same.
My first initial thoughts is, you know, the camera really does put on 20 pounds. There's no lie about that. But no, it was great. Again, they did a great job. The music and everything into the movie, all the interviews, catching all the, you know, they caught some great shots wrestling wise as well. And they put a lot of work into that. That they followed us around back in 2005, and that movie didn't come out until 2010. So they did a lot of work with that, and they did it perfectly. I thought it was great, and for both schools as well.
And we'll try to maybe post a link down below of the movie the trailer. It'll probably show some of what the movie's about. I'd highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. It's a great movie about high school wrestling, and obviously follows you know, a couple of local guys, Matt Curley from Lakewood, Lance Palmer of St. Edward, kind of through their journey to the state tournament. So it was definitely a fun thing to kind of watch and kind of be a part of. I mean, I was just kind of sitting on the sidelines watching it all in furl, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to be a part of and have that around the whole year, and the other kids as well. You know, they had little cameos in there, and it was fun for them too.
Yeah. Any other kind of general thoughts, you know, about the season so far? I mean, it's been pretty good so far, I think, for you guys.
Yeah, so far so good. And you know, we had one duel with Avon. The score didn't really indicate how good that match was. A couple matches swing our favor. You know, it's a different finish, but you know, that's just the way it goes in wrestling. And you know, we're just hoping to continue to keep battling and keep finishing high at these tournaments and hopefully, you know, contend for a SWC championship.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up this week's episode of the Matt Report. Again, want to thank Cobus Insurance Center for sponsoring the show. Thank Century 21 Deanna Family Realty for sponsoring the My Favorite Move segment. Thank Kristen Bauer for filming. And, of course, thanks Vinny Corelli for being our guest co-host for week 2 here at the Matt Report. So,
All right.
All right. Thank you guys as the viewers, and hopefully see you next week. We're going to have North Ridgeville's Joel Melvin on as the guest co-host. And we just talked about him a lot today, so we'll have him on next week.
Interesting to see Joel. He's a good guy. He's funny. And he'll bring something to the show.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you guys.